With the New York Knicks season in a tailspin, an NBA insider has revealed a major Karl Anthony Towns trade update. And we got to break this down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Knicks Basketball 365. If you're a New York Knicks fan, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. And times are getting a little rough for our Knicks. We are 2-8 over the last 10 games, which is tied for an NBA worst in that span. But let's jump into the update that we have for today. Coming from Steve Popper of Newsday, writing, "Whispers around the league have begun to speculate on the possibility of the Knicks moving Towns. His name surfaced when the Bucks and Knicks discussed the chance of a deal involving Giannis Antetokounmpo. But now league sources have said that talks have involved other teams, including the Memphis Grizzlies, the Orlando Magic, and the Charlotte Hornets." So it's pretty clear and pretty obvious why the New York Knicks would be shopping Karl Anthony Towns. This season, he has taken a step back from even last season, where last season, he was a good player who had his obvious downsides. Karl Anthony Towns currently leads the entire NBA in offensive fouls. He also has a problem with defensive fouls. He has a problem with fouls in general. But the biggest problem with Karl Anthony Towns is he doesn't play defense. He's not a tough player. He's not really built for the playoffs. Last season, we found ways to get around it because Karl Anthony Towns played well offensively, and then you just had to live with the drawbacks. This season, it feels like at times there are more drawbacks than, him playing well. And it's looking really, really bad. But we still have to remember, this is still a player who, while his contract is crazy inflated, let's just take a look at his contract here, making $53 million on the cap hit this season. Signed 4 years, $220.5 million 2 years ago. That's an absolutely monster contract that is going to be tough to move, but not impossible to move, because while Karl Anthony Towns doesn't fit properly for us, he still has utilization over the entire NBA. There are teams that can find a way to use him. The problem with him on the Knicks is both of our star players are the same thing. They are fantastic at offense, but they're not good at defense. So Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns are not a good fit together. And yes, a lot of people are arguing, and this argument may be correct, somehow Tom Thibodeau was able to take that team to the NBA Conference Finals, and Mike Brown's the issue. I'm not here to break that down today. We're talking about Karl Anthony Towns and these trade talks that the New York Knicks are currently having with him. Of course, the number one player that Knicks fans should want and do want, and that the Knicks front office wants, is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis is, of course, played for the Bucks, makes $54.5 million per year. The money lines up where they could, in theory, trade Karl Anthony Towns for Giannis Antetokounmpo straight up. Do I say that because that trade's going to happen? Absolutely not. I say that because I just want to there's a lot of money and financial rules that not a lot of people understand, even myself included, don't understand all the financial rules that go into NBA trades. But what people can understand is the money has to line up almost perfectly, and the New York Knicks, based on where we are salary cap wise in the apron system, we cannot take back a single more dollar than we are sending out. So if we were going to trade Giannis for Karl Anthony Towns, plus whatever plus we add on, the Bucks are going to have to send something back that pretty much mirrors the salary exactly. Or we would have to be involved with a third team, which will help us mirror that salary exactly. Now, speaking of some teams that could be involved, that's what we believe we are hearing about right now, with the Orlando Magic being involved and especially the Charlotte Hornets being involved. The Charlotte Hornets actually have a history of helping the New York Knicks with trades. As I pull up the right image that I'm looking for here, the Charlotte Hornets were involved when Karl Anthony Towns came to the New York Knicks as a third team, and they now are being entered as another possibility to be involved in the next trade for the New York Knicks. The number one trade asset that the Charlotte Hornets have is LaMelo Ball. He's not the best player on the team. He's not the most important player on the team, but he is the player on the team who makes a large chunk of salary, has potential upside. The dude is still 24 years old, so he's still a young player, still can be very exciting for a franchise
if you're someone like me who is looking for a tall point guard, LaMelo Ball is 6'7". The dude's a tall guard. I'm pretty positive he's not going to hit the ceiling that LaMelo Ball fans were hoping that he was going to hit coming out of college, coming into the draft, coming into the NBA. But still, if you're looking for a tall point guard, there are not a lot of them in the NBA, and you can build around LaMelo Ball. So the Hornets can help us out with a 3-team deal in a situation where the Hornets get Karl Anthony Towns, the Bucks would get LaMelo Ball, and then the Knicks would bring back Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is, of course, the number one guy that they are looking for. To me, we should be holding out for a Giannis Antetokounmpo trade because we have built this team to fit around Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. And right now, it looks like it's not working. But if we trade away Karl Anthony Towns and we bring back, a couple pieces that isn't, if we don't upgrade him into a better piece and we split him and break him down into smaller pieces, we are then going to get into a situation where we are likely not going to win. And when we don't win, we're going to say, oh, what? Did you expect this new core to be able to win in the first iteration? Did you think they were going to win their first year together? They need some time to build chemistry. They need to learn how to play with each other. And I can hear the excuses already today, the excuses that we're going to be saying in June after we don't win on doing that. So while it looks really bad right now, if you don't upgrade Karl Anthony Towns, then the only way is through. And I understand if you are, completely dead set on trading away Karl Anthony Towns. He is only averaging 21 points per game, 11.6 rebounds per game, which is pretty good, 3 assists per game. But it's not really the stats on Karl Anthony Towns, which is the reason why people want to trade him. The reason why people want to trade Karl Anthony Towns is his style of play is something that really turns people off. And it's a style of play that does not work in the playoffs. We know that. We look at the teams that have won the finals recently, and they're always top 5 in defense. You have to find a way to play defense while scoring enough points at the same time. Karl Anthony Towns, not a good defender. You can build around them, but when your point guard is also not a good defender, that's where you run into problems. Now, the other trade option, the other big fish that the Knicks can bring in would be from the Memphis Grizzlies, would be finding a way to facilitate a trade for Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson Jr. is a big man from the Memphis Grizzlies, former defensive player of the year. He also is someone who shoots the 3 ball at a pretty good clip. He is exactly what the prototypical center is, what everyone is searching for in the NBA, a rim protector and a 3-point shooter who can stretch the floor at the same time. Jaren Jackson Jr. is the perfect thing that every single NBA team is looking for in a center. So the reason, he's going to be extremely expensive because everyone knows that that's the prototype. That's what everyone's going after in an era of space and 3-point shooting being way up. A center that can shoot the 3 is absolutely invaluable. We just look at the difference between the Boston Celtics when they had Porzingis versus when Porzingis was sick or off the floor for other reasons. They were a completely different team. Now, Jaren Jackson Jr. currently hitting the cap for $49 million. He is on a contract of 5 years, $205 million, so slightly less than what Karl Anthony Towns will be making once Jaren Jackson Jr. This is the contract that he is projected to sign after the season. This is what he is going to be eligible for. So this is ballpark what he is about to be making. And Jaren Jackson Jr., there's no question whether or not he's deserving of this money, whether or not he's going to get this money. He's definitely going to get this money. He would be absolutely an amazing fit on the New York Knicks. I've seen someone saying, if you trade for Jaren Jackson, that's unfair for Jalen Brunson because you are then asking him to score 30 points per game. But I think that's absolutely something that Jalen Brunson can do. I wouldn't ask him for 30. You ask him for like 26 or 27 or 28, which is something he has done in the past. And he now is our best offensive player. And we have enough around him to take some heat off of him. But at the same time, we only have one player in our starting lineup who is a liability offensive or defensively. So the entire roster actually has a shot to win a championship like that. Now, with Jaren Jackson Jr., he, unlike Giannis Antetokounmpo, I'm not hearing rumors of him, being unrest. There aren't rumors of him wanting to come to the Knicks, which is what makes Giannis, even though Giannis is better, what makes Giannis a more realistic trade target than Jaren Jackson Jr. There is a ton of unrest going on between Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. Maybe that makes them want to blow up and kind of rebuild the entire thing. Hopefully, Towns for Jaren Jackson Jr., home run. Or maybe we'll call that the triple. Karl Anthony Towns for Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's the home run. That's what we got to hold out for. I'm absolutely vehemently against trading Karl Anthony Towns in a deal where we break him down for some sort of role players or something like that. At that point, just try to make it work with him. That's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Knicks.